I think we can all agree that renting just a one bedroom apartment has never been harder than it is right now in America. I mean, with these prices and then the income requirements to even rent a one bedroom apartment, you have to have perfect credit score, first and last month deposit, three times the income of what rent costs. A lot of people do not have many options. That's why a lot of people are living with roommates nowadays. And the people that are looking for a place to rent are not having a great time. Let's get into it.
Does anybody else notice all these apartment complexes they're putting up are charging an obscene amount of rent? And you're just kind of like, who are they renting to? Like I saw this one, that a one-bedroom apartment was $1,600 a month. Now, one-bedroom apartments are for like young kids in their 20s. At least they're supposed to be. And what young kid in their 20s is making over $4,500 a month to where they could even afford that apartment? Because you have to make 3 times the rent to even get approved for it. And the 3 bedrooms are going for like $2,500 plus. And I'm just like, who the hell can afford that? Like, I make way more money than your average American. But the idea of spending $2,500 a month in rent is just astronomically insane to me. And yet, they're wondering why people aren't having kids. But my question is, why do they keep building these apartments when there's no way in hell they can rent these apartments out? Like, there's no way these apartments are at full capacity. It's not possible. So why are they doing it? There's no way they're making, like, I don't know, it's just astronomically insane.
I'm going to be homeless or dead in a couple of weeks. Either is a much better option than paying more to be prisoner in my apartment complex for another year, especially when the prices on the website have been hundreds of dollars cheaper for well over a year. I've wanted to move out since I moved in, and it has been a nightmare every step of the way, but I can only move if I manage to find a corporate job or I have a co-signer, and the only family that could help are all baby boomers who haven't had to rent themselves for 40 to 50 years and simply refuse for no good reason. I was laid off after I moved to the other side of the country, and I've been stuck here ever since. I finally found enough freelance gigs to cover my rent, but now they're increasing my rent, and I cannot keep barely living like this.
Yo, so this is some next level shit. The landlord put a lock on the outdoor faucet. You can't make this one up, folks. You turn the faucet, and it sprays up like that. Our old landlord let us use the hose to wash down the cars, but the new one said no hoses, so we started using buckets. And then we came out today to wash the car, and there's a lock and key on the thing. Can't make that one up. The big man always wins.
I'm 35 and I live with my parents, and sometimes I just wonder to myself, when are we going to live a life that feels more settled? We're so lucky that we get to live with my parents right now because we don't have to worry about that financially. Houses are so freaking expensive, as everybody knows these days. We have 3 kids now, and I'm so grateful that we never have to worry about like where they're going to sleep or just having a good stable home. Ever since we got married about 4 years ago, something crazy has happened every year. We had a honeymoon baby, and then my dad got sick with leukemia, and then my husband's dad got sick with liver cancer, and he ended up passing away. In that time, my husband got laid off twice. We also had 2 more babies, and we have moved every year too. There's been like 4 years of instability in those ways where it's like, oh, what is this year going to bring? We're hoping that in 2026, it'll feel more stable. Maybe we'll be able to move out into our own home. Maybe my husband will get an amazing job. And even amidst all of that, it's felt stable because my husband and I's relationship is stable. Like, we have a very solid marriage, and that's the most important thing. Also, we're very grateful that our kids are healthy. That's a huge thing. So I'm not ungrateful, but I'm curious what 2026 will bring and wondering if it'll have a little bit more stability and if we'll have our own place and how that's going to unfold.
We are living in one of the worst times ever to be a young adult. It seems like everyone's depressed. A large majority of people are unemployed, and because of that, they're living with their parents. And by the way, this isn't even me shaming these people. I mean, this is more or less my situation. But the problem is, people who are honest and hardworking, that did all the right things, that went to school, got internships, graduated, are still falling into this category. So if you actually try, you're not guaranteed a successful life. We were lied to about the American dream. I mean, that's just the facts. Is it technically still possible? Yeah, but the percentage of people that are able to achieve it is shrinking as the days go on and as the generations pass. You know, you can't blame these people for being depressed either. Because what happens is, if you can't get a job, you're stressing about money constantly. You're stressing about money constantly. It doesn't end. And you almost never had a fair shot, in the sense that, as I was alluding to earlier, if you actually did every right thing and you just try to save up, if you worked while you were in school and you were just really smart about how you use your money, you still are probably paying off college debt. You still have bills that are piling up, and you didn't, in this job market, it's becoming increasingly difficult to land a job. And then if you do land a job, for most people, it's a desperate, scraping at the bottom of the barrel type of job where you're not doing what you want, and or how much you're getting paid is not really equivalent to the value that you can provide. So traditional adult milestones, they feel delayed almost indefinitely, right? Like moving out, stable careers, having relationships, buying a home. I mean, you got a better chance at getting a home on a Mr. Beast challenge than than just being able to afford it. And I think what's interesting is that since I've been able to understand the importance of money, and since it's been something that I've worried about really like late middle school, early high school, inflation has always been around, right? Things have literally only been going up in prices. The cost of living, especially if you live in a major city, which sucks because if you get a job, the chances are that's in a major city. And so then your cost of living is going up. And once again, you're kind of pinned in this corner where you're desperate and you're clawing at anything you can get to survive. And here's what sucks. So I'm 22 years old. I graduated college this week. And obviously a lot of my peers that I grew up with, I know are doing the same. And I also know a lot of older people from where I grew up in, meaning like, you know, their mid to later 20s, just from my hometown. And all these people normally fit into one of these type of categories. Either what I'm talking about in this video, where you're unemployed, you're living with your parents. Another really common one is you are employed, but you still, because the cost of living is so terrible and the jobs that people are getting are once again not the best jobs, whether that's well-paying and or, you know, something that makes them feel fulfilled in any way. So they still live with their parents. And then you have people that make the dumb financial decision of moving out because they want to go out on their own.
I'm 26 years old and I live with my parents, and this is why I've given up on my dream to buy a house. I'm a 26-year-old registered nurse, single mom, and we've been living with my parents for the past 2 years. My parents have a studio apartment within their garage, and recently my sister moved out, making that place vacant, and for the longest time I was so reluctant about moving back in there because I actually lived there with my daughter when I was 21 years old, and I just have a lot of negative experiences and emotions connecting back to that studio apartment. I was 21, postpartum. I just became a single mom, and I moved from California to Arizona. So it was a lot of dramatic change in my life. And I feel like those negative experiences are attached to that apartment. And that's why I've been so reluctant to move back in there for the longest time. But now that I'm older and I feel like I've healed just a little bit, I feel like I'm ready to go back in. And that gives me everything that I wanted for my daughter and I, which is space and privacy. I posted a video not too long ago where I was basically asking you guys to help me out to decide if I should move back into that garage. At the end of the video, I questioned if that home should be a new temporary home for my daughter and I had a person comment, and she was like, temporary? Why don't you just stay there and DIY renovate and stay there until you have 100K reached? And I was like, you know what? Why wouldn't I? I'm going to plan to stay there as long as I possibly can until my debt is gone, until I have invested a little bit of money, and until I have saved up enough money to buy a home. It's not like I'm giving up on my dream to buy a home indefinitely. It's just delayed. And for how long it's going to be delayed, I really don't know. But I guess this just goes to show that anything could happen anytime. Life is really unpredictable, and based on the circumstances that happen to you, you're going to have to pivot. And I feel like this is my pivot for right now.
Unfortunately, guys, I don't see this getting any better anytime soon. You guys share down below what you're paying a month for rent. Do you think it's a fair price? Have you been shopping lately to move? Let me know how that's going. But all in all, it's obvious that it's very unaffordable for most people to live alone nowadays. And that's why you see a lot of people moving back home with their parents or splitting rent with 2, 3, 4 roommates sometimes just to make it by each month. As always, thank you guys for watching, and until next time.